Welcome to another Wednesday night Bible study with Mount Olive AME Church. I am Pastor Schrendria Robinson, and I am so delighted that you have taken time, or you are taking time out of your schedule to join us for Bible study. I am excited about tonight's study. I'm just excited about the time that we have together tonight to have conversation, and I'm gonna call this a pop-up Bible study because we got one guest that just popped up, and it's gonna be good because she is here with us. So I'm grateful. I just love how the Lord works. So hey, text somebody because we usually on at 8:15, and now it's about 6:19, so about 2 hours earlier. And so tell somebody we're doing a pop-up Bible study and ask them to join us. More of a conversation, though. I do want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. It's more of a conversation. We're not about to open and go from Genesis to Revelation or even focus on one particular text extensively, but it's a much needed conversation that it's a conversation that we are not having a lot as the body of Christ. So this is why it's still under this Bible study series. But we want to talk about holiday blues and Jesus joy. I mean, all of us are going through things, and sometimes it seems like whatever it is that we're going through, it's exacerbated during the holiday season, and especially those negative things. And we can't manage our stress. We didn't get done all the things that we wanted to get done. I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm gonna let the guests talk about it. But share this with somebody, and we're gonna have conversation on this evening. Again, I thank you for joining us tonight, and I'm gonna get started by bringing our guest in. First, we have with us, as always, Sister Adrian. Sister Adrian Anderson is our Sister Adrian Butler. Why did I do that? My mind went way, way, way back to 1998. Um, Rest in peace. Sister Adrian Butler is our Christian Education Director, and I'm always grateful to have her as a part of our conversation. Tonight she tries to stay backstage and just be our scribe, but she's on camera tonight, and I love her shirt. Believe it says "believe" at the bottom. I saw it earlier today, so I was able to peep that out. That was nice. And also joining us, Alicia and Sky. I don't know if it's dinner time, but oh, okay. Believe. I see your believe. Alicia and Sky are joining us this evening. Alicia is I think I put you a title up here, Alicia. I didn't know it. I did. I put Alicia is the director of Whole Child Development Center. Let's see, did I put that on here? There you go. That's what she's talking to us tonight from that perspective. Whole Child Development Center, the director at Whole Child Development Center, and we want to talk about it because our children also have experienced this stress and they experience grief. She asked a great question last week, which led me to ask her to come on in this week. Ladies, can you greet everybody who's watching us this evening?
Hey everybody, Merry Christmas coming up.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Hello,
And
happy holidays.
happy holidays to you. Thank you so much for being here. And so we're going to talk about the holiday blues, but we're going to talk about Jesus' joy. And everybody on this line has a different perspective. As I said, Alicia and Scott too will be able to share from um, a little bit about our children, but Scott just about family and just the everyday life and stress, whether it's in the workplace or in our in things that we're dealing with our families, expectations that we put on ourselves that we need to let go of, that we need to let go. And so we want to start off by saying, I love this scripture, and I quote this scripture, and we thank you that the joy of the Lord is our strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And sometimes it's difficult to have joy during this season, especially when we talk about our grief and we talk about the people that we've lost. For the past 2 weeks, we've talked about holiday grief. So today it's not necessarily grief, focusing totally on grief, but we can focus on grief, but we can just focus on overall generalized sadness, overall holiday blues, and the stress, y'all, the stress of the holidays. And God tells us to cast our burdens and our cares upon Him because He cares for us. But so many of us are trying to carry this load on our own. So many of us are trying to be superwoman and superman, and we're just trying to do all the things that somebody told us we should do this season, and it's really not necessary. Sister Adrian, I'm going to start with you with a question. Before I put some scriptures up here, it's a question because I saw this, and I was able to resonate with this. The question is, how do you feel this year not sending out holiday greeting cards? Okay, we're gonna talk about expectations. Alicia and
Let's talk
Sky.
about that.
Sometimes there are some of us we make it a habit of sending out cards every year. I don't know who told us we had to send out cards every year, but we make a habit of sending out cards every year. And when we can't get them out, y'all, it is so stressful. The holiday card is so stressful. Now I know I love that we have the multi generations on here. Sky's looking like I will not put a card in the mail. I've never thought about putting a card in the mail, but Sister Adrian and I mail cards every year. Sister Adrian, talk to us about not putting cards in the mail this year and how that weight was lifted off of you.
It wasn't a planned thing. I have the cards. I was going to sit down. It was my plan to sit down yesterday and, as the old folks used to say, back the envelopes. Y'all know what backing envelopes means? Well, older people will know. It just means putting the return address and addressing the cards, addressing the envelopes. That's all. And I was going to do it. And when I thought about it, it's like, this was last night. Today's Tuesday, the 19th. Christmas is in like 6 days. 2 or 3 of those days is the weekend. If I don't get the cards in the mail till tomorrow, by the time most people get them, because most of the people I send them to are out of state, Christmas is going to be over. So what is the point? At this point, what is the point? I've said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Now, y'all got to understand, this will be the first time in more than 40 years I have not sent out Christmas cards.
People
But
think
what I,
something wrong.
huh?
People gonna think something wrong. You ain't send their Christmas card
Oh
out.
no, I'm gonna text everybody or call them. I'm not just gonna leave because they will think, what? She ain't sent no card.
Right.
You see, I came from the generation where when my kids were little, I used to send Christmas cards to my first cousins, my second cousins, my aunts, my grandmother's sisters, my great aunts and stuff like that. And every year for Christmas, I would put the kids' updated school picture in it. And my great aunts used to look forward to, they said, we know come Christmas, Asians gonna send us a picture of the kids. Asians gonna send, so, you know, and I thought about it because the last of my grandmother's sisters passed last year. And so it's like, wow, who am I sending? Because everybody else, they see the kids Facebook and on your phones and stuff like that. You text the pictures, and it's like, is that the end of the era? No, because I'm sending out cards next year. But I'm not going to wait till December. I normally do them Thanksgiving weekend. But I don't know what I was doing.
Okay.
Oh, I was in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wanted to say that you're making that post. Like sometimes we do things, and I know we live in the world of social media, and some of us, we can take it or leave it. But when I saw your post, I've been contemplating. Um, Obviously I haven't been sending cards for 40 years, but I've been contemplating this year not sending cards. And when I saw your post, it was the confirmation actually that
It's
I
okay.
needed not to send the cards. I had already said to a good friend of mine that I would probably, and now I probably won't do this, send cards on New Year's that says Happy New Year to everyone. But I want to go to this thing of, when we talk about Jesus, we keep saying Jesus is the reason for the season. And I know our cards are laced with wonderful words about Jesus. And those of you who send us cards every year, I have received them. And I thank you so much for your card. And I will reach out to you. But when we get to a point to where our holiday traditions become overwhelming, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to be overwhelmed and stressed? I am telling people, as your pastor, I am saying, cast your cares and your burdens upon Jesus, because he cares for you. And I'm carrying all of this stuff
Right.
the only thing we're carrying is the expectation of the
But people.
holidays. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
a lot of times it's somebody else's expectation. And I just want to say to somebody who's watching tonight, like, let that go. Like, let it
Right.
go. Let it go.
I found that the last two events, like I went to New Jersey for Thanksgiving, I spent 4 days up there. I didn't take one picture because this the second half of this year, I've been more about being in the moment than recording the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I have the memories. Okay, I know what they look like. They know what I look like. I'll come home and write a short story about it, write it down so I can remember what happened. But my focus is more to experience what we're doing instead of recording it so I can share it with other people. I'm missing it because I'm trying to take it down to share it with other people. How do I? Yeah, because the original question was, how do I feel about not sending out the cards? And if you read the rest of the post, it's like I'm liberated. God has delivered me from so many things this year. This has been my year for restoration. And
Mhm.
I said restoration is something else, but there's no guilt. I, y'all mad because I didn't send you a card? I'm
They're not.
sorry.
They're good.
No,
They're
no, but
good.
I'm just saying, even if they are, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I asked the question. I said, okay, so while you're getting prepared for all the gifts you're going to give and all the gifts you're going to receive, what are you giving Jesus? It's his
What
birthday.
are you giving
What
Jesus?
are you giving? In fact, have you given him you yet? It's his birthday.
Why is she preaching on the Bible study chat where we're supposed to be talking about holiday blues? She is preaching. I love it.
But
Type it in the chat. Those of you who are watching, I got to get them a chance to type. Type it in the chat. What are you giving Jesus? What are you
but when
giving
you
Jesus?
when you can come up with the answer to that, then that will help you understand your stress.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because when your focus becomes given to everybody else or what other people are going to give you instead of focusing on the reason for the season, that's the stress. That right there is the stress because it doesn't cost you anything to share Jesus with anybody. It don't cost nothing to do that, to sit down and have a conversation. But we get so caught up in I got to get this for this person and this for that person. Well, what do I get then? That's stressful. How
That's
much money is it
stressful.
going? How much money is it going to cost? That's stressful. Getting out in the
Lanita say,
store,
I'm gonna
having
give
to
my
face full of
time.
crowds.
Your
That's stressful.
time. Your
That's
time,
Yeah.
all.
Lanita. I'm
That's where
looking
your
in the
stress
chat.
is because your focus is not on the reason for the holiday. So if you
Yeah.
if you can focus if you can focus on that, and then it becomes real simple because it goes back to God's already given us everything we need to be able to do whatever we need to do, which is not be stressed if we choose not to. You just said the joy of the Lord is your strength, but there are things you have to do to get to the joy, to get to God's joy. And what's that word I like to say? It starts with the O. Obedience. If we just do what he tells us to do, how he tells us to do it, we won't be stressed. We won't be depressed. We won't be. It's when we start to do that extra stuff. That's what drives us. And this year I've been all about whatever God tells me to do, done. I don't even
All right,
question no
Sister,
more.
hey, I gotta slow you down. I gotta slow
Okay.
you down. I gotta slow you down because I said we got the multi generations on here tonight. And again, you have grown to that point. Bless the Lord. Amen.
Right.
You can say amen to that. You have
Mm.
grown to that point. So we got to dial it back to give it to some others who are watching tonight who are, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know we got some 60+ year olds out there who are watching who are stressed out also. But then I want to also be able to reach to those of us who just don't have the discipline or haven't matured to that place yet. We want to make sure that we break it down and we give also some practical steps and practical applications. And I get it. Obey, you can't get any more practical than that, right? Oh, you
Mhm.
cannot get any more practical than that. But we are stressed. We are overwhelmed. And all of it may not be because of what I put on me. Some people watching, maybe they're on somebody's job. They are working. So you're working. God, you were employed by somebody else. Somebody else's lack of planning ends up being an emergency or something on your part, and you're
Mhm.
like, look, I've done all my stuff, and now you come and you put all this on me at the last minute, and I'm trying to get off, or I'm dealing with people, or I see people who can't even get off for the holidays. I mean, so many of us, there's certain things that we take for granted. Sometimes the holiday stress is, I just want to be off work a couple of extra days to be with my family. And I can't even get that time off. I can't get that time off. I'm so happy. Every store that I've gone to this week and I see the sign on their door that says they're closed for Christmas, I am so
Yeah.
happy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so happy. I'm like, yes,
Well,
I'm so happy.
a lot of times, well, when it comes to working, people who are working, you can't afford that time off. I mean, even if you want to get a time, or if it's available to you to get the time off, you have the pressure of Christmas gifts and all that stuff, and then recovering from that because really, when you're getting gifts for your children or your family or things of that nature during the holidays, you spend more than you typically would in a month on gifts and dinner and whatever else, celebrating or just being out with your friends, family. And then you end up, in a situation where you have to recover financially. You start robbing Peter to pay Paul. Exactly. You got to recover financially because it's the holidays. You do have that. It's really pressure in a sense of not disappointing friends, not disappointing family. That's important to a lot of people. Sometimes more important than it needs to be. Um, so you do have that pressure of like not wanting to be able to disappoint those people, the family in your life, especially when your family is supportive over the year and there for you and always helping out when they can. You like, okay, I want to show my appreciation, I want to show my love. Will they understand if you're not able to do that? I'm sure, but you don't want to be that person, So you have that situation where you're like, okay, well, I got to get something. It don't have to be something big, but you rushing to figure out what I'm gonna do, and then you work extra hours, or you got to recover because you still got to pay your bills. You still got to have day to day life. You still got to put food on your table. All that is if you don't plan properly, like you said before, if you don't plan properly for Christmas, and sometimes a lot of times. I mean, I had to keep going back to economy and work and stuff like that. But a lot of times, people can't afford to plan properly. It just doesn't work that way. It don't work out like that, realistically, for a lot of people. So, it's the pressure of that in itself can sometimes build up until Christmas time, and then you're like, or after Christmas, January is when I used to have a lot of like for me, I used to have January's and October's were always really hard for me financially because January is after Christmas and October is what I recover after school starts. So it'll take me like a month. It will take me like a month after school started to recover because you gotta go back to school clothes and book bags and school supplies and all that stuff. So before that, those were always my hard months. Um, so financially, that is a big thing that really, and I feel like finances is a big part of Christmas that really puts a lot of stress on people, probably the most stress on people during that time of year, not just being able to be everywhere and do everything, but specifically financially. I mean, people are already having it rough financially, so Christmas just doesn't make it any better, especially the commercialization of Christmas. Because, like you said, Jesus is the reason for the season, but it has grown and done more than that over the
It
years.
is. It is, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask. I'm asked. Thank you so much for that, Alicia. And I want for those who are watching, I want you to type in the comments. Like type in the comments. What is stressing you? What's stressing you during the holidays? And since I had muted because I heard some. I'm gonna unmute it. See, I heard some feedback like when we were talking. So I don't know. I know you usually have on two devices. So I don't know if one of them is like not muted or the sound is not turned all the way down. Because when we do that, we don't hear it. but when we unmute you, we do hear the other feedback. So, but we'll fix it. Obviously, it's not a problem when you're speaking, so probably just have to mute and unmute when you're not speaking. But when we talk about this thing about the economy and the finances and the things that's stressing you out, and I probably should have invited Reverend Wanamaker to be on this call tonight, because y'all remember thinking back to her sermon.
Mhm.
Either one of you want to share? She talked about the Christmas when there were no gifts under the tree.
Yeah.
How do parents, does anybody want to speak, either one of you want to speak to that? How do you parents, when there may be a time where there isn't, you have to get real creative. You may have to get very creative when it comes to children and not meeting their expectations.
I will. Okay, so I've been a grandparent. I've been a grandma now for 13 years. I was unemployed the first 3 years of my grandchildren's lives. Unemployed. Christmas. So I have to say that right now, 2023, I'm blessed and highly favored. My life didn't look like this 13 years ago. I've had my share of financial struggles and all of that kind of stuff. And like I said, 13 years ago, I was employed their first 3 years of life. They were born in Colorado, December 24th, 2010. I'm here in South Carolina. I got to get to Colorado because I'm going to see my grandkids. I got to do stuff for them for their birthday and Christmas. And so I made those first 2 or 3 years of their lives, I made gifts for everybody. I can sew. So I made the lounge pants, just bought t-shirts. I crocheted blankets, clothing and stuff like that. So that was one of the things I did. A lot of times you get stressed financially. I don't have a problem saying no when it comes to spending money. If I don't have it, I don't have it. And so my plan was I always got paid every other week. So 2 times a year, you get a third paycheck. That third paycheck always came in October, November, or December. October, November, or December. So that was the bulk of my Christmas money. What I couldn't get outside of that, they had big Christmases. My daughter told me she didn't realize we wasn't rich until she was in middle school, because they said I just made it look so easy, but I was able to not have to buckle under the pressure of worrying about what other people were doing. My kids grew up in a house instead of the apartments because that was my choice. This is what I can afford. And so it's your priorities. When you're planning your finances, you got to plan Christmas in a little bit each month instead of trying to figure that out in just in 2 or 3 months. So yeah, it is hard. The pressure was there, but I wasn't going to buckle under it because I do the best that I can. I was a single parent, and I thank God that I never really got caught up in the pressure single parents feel, especially at Christmas time. But Pastor, you talked about the healthy communities, being healthy financially, being healthy spiritually. Well, being healthy financially allows for Christmas. And if it doesn't allow for Christmas, then you set your budget and you don't go over it. But I had to wait till I'm 67 years old to be where I am now. It was a struggle for a lot of years. It was. It was. And it can be.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
pride,
Well, go
but
ahead.
pride comes in there a lot too. Pride. And because you don't want people to, but pride is
We
not
got
of God.
Yeah, I
That's
get it.
not of God. So
I get it.
I
Were
got
y'all
some.
gonna share there too? Oh, hold on. Are y'all speak? Did you mute, Alicia? What happened? Sorry, y'all. We having little technical difficulties. I don't know why we can't hear y'all. Hey, can you hear them? Oh, you can't hear them either.
They're frozen on my screen. Oh no, I see eyes moving. Are they talking?
We
Oh,
can't hear them. I don't know why we can't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. Uh, okay. I'm gonna let you close out and come right back, and we'll keep it going. Close out and come right back, and we'll keep it going. I don't know what just happened there, but
But you
but
said
one of the
something
things
earlier.
I okay, go ahead.
You said something earlier about I've matured to that point.
Yeah,
I've um
okay.
yeah, I understand things differently now in my 60s than I did in my 30s and my 40s. And I
Mhm.
used to say, but
Yes.
there was nobody pouring into me back then, telling me the things that I've had to learn the hard way. But when I sit down and be honest about it, yeah, there was. I just wasn't listening.
I hear you.
I
I
just
hear
wasn't
you.
Praise God.
listening. I was determined to do this my way. And a lot of my years between then, I know I was living outside of the will of God, expecting
Hallelujah.
him to bless me, you know, for certain things, but doing what I want to, how I want to, when I want to. But then God, when I need God, please help me.
That's
If
what I
you help
mean.
me out of this, I promise.
That's what
But
I
We can hear all your comments on Zalisha. What you just
about my
you can
job.
mute on your end as well, but she literally just told her. I'm not gonna repeat what she just said. I'm sure everybody else heard it, but
Yeah.
it sounds like we
My,
got some similarities. So you can
yeah.
say it for yourself. I won't say it. Go ahead, sister.
Oh, wait, because I muted us
No, we can hear
again.
you. We can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. Okay. Good.
But I think, like I said, financially, yes, it's definitely tough. That's definitely one of the pressures. But speaking from a different generational point, I would say, and I can't speak for Alicia, but for me personally, I'm walking into another sphere in my life, which
Mm,
is now I have to take over some of the traditions, which you don't understand the amount of work and energy that goes into these traditions that have been provided to you for. So making facilitating dinner, facilitating moments with your kids, all of that takes energy. What's going to be on the menu? Who's bringing what time is being delivered? Does somebody is the right person making the mac and cheese for the dinner for the family? Is the right person making the pound cake? You don't
mhm,
understand how much energy and effort goes into cleaning up the kitchen after everybody's eaten and making sure there's games. For example, my mom said, okay, it's your turn. These are your kids now. You have to entertain them to Christmas. It's no longer us.
mm,
And your parents are getting older and you have to take over all these things and make sure that they're happening. So we're walking into a different point in our life where now I'm no longer the child. I'm the adult to make sure that the holidays go around. And so
mm,
I think that's difficult for us because I'm still trying to be a parent, but now I'm becoming the adult, the leader in the family. And nobody
mhm,
quite quite tells you how to take over that role or assume that responsibility. They just give it to you.
Transfer
mhm.
It's
leadership.
just transfer of leadership, and you realize the elders are slowly dying off, and now is your time to step up to the plate. And it is scary. It's scary. It's like I don't want to let the family down,
Hmm.
but so that's
That
one of the
is
pressures.
a different perspective, Scott. I thank you for sharing that. But it sounds like your mom is definitely, I mean, she's passing the baton. And I know it may feel like she just threw it to you, but it seems like she's passing it gracefully because,
She she really is. She
she's
is.
telling you that it's your turn. Like, I mean, and I love that because we just those roles change. You know, there are tables, there are seats at the tables that are not filled with our loved ones who've gone on. And you are one day we're gonna look up and it's like, wait, you are Big Mama. Like you are the
Hmm.
Right.
person.
Our big mama.
And this is this is you are the person. You are wait, I'm hosting Christmas. Everybody coming to my house? Like, wait
Right.
a minute here. Wait a minute. And you
So
don't have that appreciation for that level of clean and realize what they did to
Right.
anticipate everybody getting there. And then once they're there, and then when all y'all jokers leave and go home, I still gotta clean the kitchen. I
Right.
mean, maybe in some families you share the load a little bit better, but that is a really good perspective. And I can see how that can be very stressful.
So I have a question for you, Sky. What makes you think we don't understand, or what makes you think I don't understand?
Oh no, I
Oh,
wasn't saying you didn't understand. I was just saying that for our generation, we're just walking into that new. So I wasn't saying you didn't understand. So I apologize if it came
oh
off
no,
that way.
No. I was because I was going to say that because it was the same for us. It was the same for
Right.
us. And I wanted to tell you that if you've been paying attention to the ancestors, you already have everything in you you need to make the transition. Of course, you're going to make some mistakes. Be prepared for that. That first year, stuff is not going to go perfectly. Be prepared for that. And guess what? It's okay. It's okay
Mhm.
because people aren't going to remember that. They're going to remember the overall good time they had with you heading it.
Right.
And the more you do it, you'll find your stride. It'll get easier, but you'll find your stride. Ask for help. Delegate. Nobody says you have to do it the exact same way everybody else did it. You already
She
know. You already
Oh,
know who makes the best
she
macaroni.
gonna
You already
delegate.
she
Yeah, but
said
She
she is definitely
I
delegating.
add to this sometimes. I have to add to this sometimes. You don't quite. I'm not a child. Yes, I'm 32, but you don't quite understand the dynamics of the family because you've been shielded from some of those
Mhm.
relationships. So you
Mhm.
don't quite understand how to communicate. This person isn't going to do this because not to say somebody's selfish in your family, but we all must all understand that people operate. You may be born together, but you're not raised the same. And so
Mm-hmm.
people have different levels of giving. You have those who are going to do the best, and then some say, no, I bring the sodas. So who does that financial responsibility fall on in the family? And so when you come into your family and nobody can outside can't really give you advice on your own family to understand to walk and try to figure out those inner workings of a family you've been a part of your whole life, but you haven't dealt with on that level, it's stress within itself.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
stressful. And
Yeah.
I see, I hear the stress. I hear it in your voice. Like it is stressful. But you know what I equate it to, bringing it to ministry as well. It's like I remember sitting in church and seeing like this is how church goes, this is the order of service, this is what the minister does when they stand up and do whatever. But then when it's your time to stand up there and like there are no other clergy there and you're the person who have to do it for the first time by yourself, it's like, wait a minute, like I know I've seen them do this for 20 years, I've watched them do this, but now it's my turn to stand up here. And it's nerve wracking. And you're looking and you got the paper and you're like, your hands are shaking, like, okay, check, check. I did this, I did that. But we get through it. And every time you do it, it gets a little bit better and a little bit better. It gets a little bit easier. But right now, it's just gonna be right there. Lanita said, "I'm the soda person. Like I'm the soda. I'm the person bringing the soda." But I want to lift up some of these comments because we want our audience to continue to engage. Lanita said, "This is the first time I'm not stressing over the holidays. I've learned to set boundaries and recognize it's not just Christmas for others, it's my Christmas too. So I do for others according to
Mhm.
my choices and comfort
There you
level,
go.
enjoying my time too." Yeah, that's real good, Lanita, because so often those of us who are the doers, those of us who are the host, we get so caught up in hosting and making sure everybody else got everything else that we don't have anything. Like you'll buy for everybody else. And I know I've been guilty of this in the past. Somebody say past, of buying for
Okay.
everybody else and don't buy for myself. And I'm like,
Mm.
nope. I'm getting a gift for me. I bought my gift first this time. I bought my gift first. So you want to make sure that you take time for yourself. Simone says, and then we're going to shift to talking about our children a little bit. Simone says you're in the middle of your onboarding experience right now. I'm talking about the workplace and workplace. You're on board. Like here I am. I'm the host this year. So you're just in the middle of that experience. And I want everyone to continue to type in your questions, type in your comments. If nothing is stressing you out this holiday season, that's great. I love it. Let's keep it that way. What are some of the things that you're doing? And you're setting boundaries, but to make sure that you don't take on this stress. But I want to talk about our children also and their stress and just sometimes the blues that our children experience. Most people think when we talk about Christmas, oh, it's all about children, but our children are hurting, our children are frail, our children are going through a whole lot right now. Um and and they want to be able to do stuff. You talk about not having the funds to do whatever. One of mine, I'll just say the name, Kyle, just he told all of us in the car, he said, I got Christmas gifts for all of y'all. I want everybody to know I got Christmas gift for all of you, and I have packed all of you. I have wrapped all of your gifts. And I know that I haven't taken them shopping to buy, gifts for each other or anything like that. So I said, well, Kyle, did you go and buy our gifts? Because maybe another family member took him shopping. Or did you find these gifts in the house? And he said, I don't want to say he said something smart like what difference is it made, but he was like, well, what if I told you I bought them? And I was like, that'll be fine. And he said, what if I told you I found them? And I said, that'll be fine. He said, didn't you always say it's the thought that counts anyway? I said, I did. So I came home and I hadn't noticed, but I went and I looked. My paper is all in disarray. He has attempted to he has wrapped gifts, but it's not anything that he's bought. It's something that it's stuff that he's found in his house that he has just wrapped he has a gift for every single person that he's wrapped and he's put names on. Now I don't know I'm gonna be so surprised. I'm gonna be just as surprised that he had gone to Tiffany's and bought me that necklace and put it in that blue box. I'm gonna be
Right.
so surprised because I don't know. I have no idea, but it's something that's already here. He said, "Mommy, you're gonna really like it. It's gonna really remind
What's
you of."
funny is you don't even notice what's going on in the house that he wrapped.
Well,
So,
y'all can see that from some of my other Facebook posts that I made this week. It's easy. It's easy for you to find something in here to wrap. But our children, they are looking, they are listening, they are paying attention, but some of them are hurting. Alicia Dixon is the director at Whole Child Development Center in Columbia, South Carolina, where there's so many children that come with a whole
Mhm.
bunch of love, with a whole bunch of love. And just she has her own personal village of children outside of Whole Child Development Center. And so, Alicia, can
They all
you?
here right now. They
They
quiet
are
though, so
yeah, bless the Lord. Can you talk to us? I want to go specifically down to like the angel tree
okay.
project first, and then we'll go to the little babies, and you can talk about them. But
Okay.
you've shared on our church's Facebook page, just a personal story about Angel Tree. But can you tell people like what Angel Tree is and how is it? How do children feel who are a part of the Angel Tree program, and how does Christmas look differently for those children?
Okay. So Angel Tree is a mission that gives gifts to children who are in need. But Prison Fellowship Angel Tree is the one that we participate in. So Salvation Army has Angel Tree, and other organizations have Angel Tree as well. But we do the Prison Fellowship Angel Tree, and that is a project that allows people like us to be able to gift items to children who have incarcerated parents. And so, what that means for children who have incarcerated parents, it helps them build a relationship with their parent. It helps them know that their parent is thinking of them. It helps them understand that, despite of whatever mistakes their parent has made, they're still a priority in their life, and they still love them, and they thinking about them, they care about them. My son Eli has been a part of that project for since I think his first Christmas, I believe, was the first one. He got a taco truck for Christmas, and he was only a year. He wasn't even a year old. He was like 8 months. Um, but I can go back every year, and it's a picture of him opening a gift from his father, who is in prison, who is still in prison, and he is able to be able to be like, oh, my dad bought me this for Christmas. We have lots of pictures, lots of stuff. My dad got me this for Christmas, and that has helped foster his relationship with his father. He doesn't see him often, maybe about twice a year. But being able to get Christmas gifts, and also having gifts purchased on behalf of him for birthdays, even though that's not part of prison fellowship, but just things like that helps him be able to identify and have the connection with his dad. So and then all the other children. So like if we usually go to visit during Christmas time. So Christmas Eve is usually the day that we go, and usually on Christmas Eve, it's all these kids there for visitation, and it's a long line. There's so many people. They're all there, and they're all happy to see their well, in our case, their father, because we go to a men's facility. They're all there to see their father. You see all these children who are just excited to see him. Eli even has befriended children because we visit all at the same time all the time, for holidays and things like that. So, you'll see somebody that you've seen in a year. And it's a different type of way to build that family connection. Because we know that it's not the ideal situation. But children need both parents all the time. All children need both parents. People always say, oh, daughters need their dads or boys need their dads. If they know, children need both parents. I see it all the time, where no matter what the circumstance is, especially if their parent is a loving, caring parent, despite of who they are outside or the choices that they've made. So, prison fellowship, we've done it at Mount Olive for 7 years now. We've always been able to deliver gifts to these families. Whenever I give, sometimes I have to deliver the gifts to the caregivers of the children, but the moments that I do get to hand the gift to a child from their incarcerated parent, that is a beautiful moment. Always, it's always sweet. It's always just like sometimes the surprise on their face. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, like I got a gift, and we label all the gifts. All the gifts have a message from their parent on the gift. You can read the note to their child, and they're always like touching, loving notes. And so it's always very much a beautiful moment. And I think that's very important because, like I said, children need both parents all the time. And when you're separated from your parent on a holiday, that's hard. It's hard to know that, like, when Eli was really little, he would be like, he would talk to his dad on the phone and he would say, when are you coming to my house? Or when can I come to your house? When he was really young. And because, he didn't understand. So having that separation is always hard. So that the gifts is one thing that kind of brings them closer emotionally, and relationally. Like, that relationship does build just by a gift. You don't really think much of it. But one thing Eli can always say is, my dad got me something for Christmas every year. There's never been a year that he hasn't gotten him something for Christmas. So, and he's 10. So,
I love
um, yeah, so
it.
that's one thing that we've been able to really foster, with other children in our community. And I really love and appreciate that.
And I want to say this because I have the our information scrolling across the screen. Because I want to say, this year the need has been so great. Sister Alicia told us we had one family, one child that we were hosting
Mhm.
for Angel Tree. And then one day she turned around and said, we have 12 children. And that was after I had already committed to another child somewhere else. So it was 13. There are 13 children that we are supporting. So if you are watching the Bible study, you can see scrolling across the bottom of the screen a way that you can give to our Angel Tree project. Again, the church, we don't keep any of the funds. When you say that, when you designate in that line that it's for Angel Tree, all of that money goes to buying these gifts
Yes.
for the children and making sure that child has what they need for Christmas, or at least some
Mhm.
of what they need or some of what they want.
Yeah.
It's to help make their day a little bit brighter. So you
Yeah,
still
every
have
year
time
we
to
have
get.
been able to. I will say this, with the donations, every year we've been doing it. We have been able to get wants and needs for all of the children. So I
Yeah.
am
Last year, I
last year.
mean, my heart was so torn last year. Last year, you gave, but we as a church, as a congregation, we definitely give as well. But as a congregation last year, we gave above and beyond because
Yeah.
my heart as a pastor could not fathom the wish list, the wish of one particular family. All they wanted,
Mhm.
all the kids wanted, it was two of them, I think. They wanted no, it was
Mhm.
more than two. They wanted beds.
Mhm.
They wanted. They wanted a bed. They wanted the to get to not have to sleep on the floor. Actually, it wasn't even a bed. It may have said a mattress.
It was mattress
It
and
was a
bedding
mattress. Yeah,
and
mattress
like
and bedding.
sheets.
It didn't even
Yeah.
say a bed. Just a mattress to not have to sleep on the floor. And so I do. I know we take so much for granted, but for me last year, for our congregation to be able to say, "Oh yeah, we're getting these mattresses, like we're getting
Mhm.
these because we do not want these children." They could have asked for toys. I mean, because we're still children, they could have asked for toys. They could have asked for bikes, but it was mattress. Don't want to sleep on the floor, and so we're asking if you are. able to give, you see the ways to give at the bottom of the screen. We do ask you to give and just indicate in the memo that it's for the Angel Tree. To indicate in the memo that it's for the Angel Tree Project, and it will go directly to making these children's lives a little bit brighter on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. But we have children who are not just dealing with their parents who are incarcerated, but we have children dealing with separation and divorce, children dealing
Mhm.
with the fact of, like Sister Adrian said, her kid didn't know, Charlotte didn't know until middle school that they were poor. Their kids now, I mean, not they were poor, they weren't rich. Excuse me. That was, you said that they weren't rich. But there are kids now who will just tell you like so much of their business. They
Yeah.
will tell you what is going on. There is, unfortunately, there are children now who are operating in the role of parent, and I hate to say it, y'all, but the parents are acting like the children. And
Children.
I don't want to go all the way down that road, but I got to tell you just one example from my trip to the mall yesterday. And I don't even go. It was late evening, yesterday evening, and I needed to just stop by and grab something. And there was, it seemed like every store I went in looking for this particular item, this family followed me, and it was a mom and her girls. And I promise you, the oldest didn't look more than 10 or 11, but the mom's mouth was like a sailor. Okay, if you curse like a sailor, that's you. I ain't judging. But it was the 10-year-old girl that just kept saying, "Stop cussing. Stop. Stop it." Because there was like a 4-year old, maybe 3-year old. And she was like, "Why do you stop talking like that? Stop doing it." And I'm looking like, this is the child it was hard for me to keep from staring because I was all in their conversation, and the mom just kept talking about buying for the smallest in the little in the 11-12 year old kept saying, you already bought her 2 pair of shoes. Now you're in here trying to buy her 2 more pair of shoes. As soon as we get home, you're going to be saying that you're broke. By the end of the week, you're going to be saying you don't have any money. Like, stop buying for her. We need stuff too. Y'all, this is a 10-year-old, 10, 11-year-old saying this to her mom, who appears to be at least in her 30s, if not close to 40. Children are carrying the weight. Children are carrying a lot of weight. Um, Alicia, how can we pray for what is going on in the lives of these children that you want to share with us, that or the fact that they are experiencing? Can you testify to the fact that children are experiencing holiday stress just as much as adults?
Yes, 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 yes.
It's like yes.
From the 2-year-olds to the 12-year-olds, they are all to the 20-year-olds. They are all experiencing holiday stress for sure. One thing to always know is the what well things that I pray for children that are in my care is what they see and what they hear. Um, a lot of times we have children that come who have seen or heard things, and they live those things. Because, okay, let me back up a little bit. We have to understand that most of the time, when the first 5 years of children's life, we'll start with early childhood. First 5 years, how they learn is by watching and doing, right? So, that's all. That's the only way they learn is watching and doing, watching and doing. They don't learn from other people's experience. See somebody go through something and be like, "Oh, I shouldn't do that." They don't do that. They watch and then do. And so, that's just simple. You watch your parents. Uh, Cook on the stove. It's hot. They tell you it's hot, but they do it anyway. And that's how they learn. Oh, the stove is hot. Sometimes they won't touch the eye. They get close enough to see that it's hot, and they won't. They understand. They watch and they do. So anytime a child has gone through any type of trauma or difficult experience at home life, anything that you say, they hear it and they'll do it. One thing that we have in centers inside the childcare facility in the classroom, you have different like areas. And in the creative expression areas where you used to have the kitchen set up or the couch and the whatever. So whatever, a lot of times it comes out there. So because they're reenacting what they see at home or what happens at home, and their imaginative play with their friends, they reenact what they see at home. So we had one child that was just always yelling at another child in that area because she was the mommy and he was the dad, and so mom was always yelling at the dad, always. Anytime they got in that role, they're always yelling, and so so that's how you know that they're just doing what they see. So a lot of times during the holiday season, um, our children respond to that stress that they see in their families, the stress that they see in their parents. They respond to that stress, and it's and they act out or they do different things. And you notice a change in behavior, or you see even the depression. It's
Mm.
transferable to these very, very, very young children. You'll see a change in how they feel, like how they walk around. They're more lethargic, not as expressive. I literally had one of the teachers come to me and say, "Hey, do you know what's going on with this child? He's not as happy to be here as he normally is. He's not as excited as he usually is." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's something that we can, discuss and talk to the parents with." And oftentimes, parents will come and be like, "It's Christmas. I'm struggling. We trying to keep the lights on. We trying to keep the water on." This Christmas, I made it my duty to send out resources to parents, finding resources about how to utility assistance, Christmas toys and gift assistance. Send all that information out to our parents to try to relieve that burden, that stress. A lot of these children are unhoused. They don't have homes to go to. They don't have a Christmas tree. They don't have you know let alone gifts under the tree. They don't have a tree. So like uh these children are experiencing a amount of stress that I think personally, now this is my personal opinion, not professional opinion. Well, I don't remember having to deal with a lot of this stuff when we was kids, or my friends dealing with these things when I was a child. So I'm like, okay, and they see different things and they hear different things. They are exposed to way more than you would expect them to be exposed to, and so that has a profound effect on young children. And even as they get older, I have like Pastor Ren was saying, my little village of children. As they get older, it doesn't change. They still watching. They now they interpret, and when they start interpreting and have a perspective and an opinion, that is a very uh a fine line.
It's an
Uh,
interesting place.
it's a really interesting place
Interesting space.
because their perspective is far more interesting than we think it is. And once they start talking to you and saying, "Hey, well, I'm not gonna say that." They start
Mm-hmm.
talking to you and say things that you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know, that you felt that way, or I didn't know that's what you had going on in your life." Now you're like, "Okay, well, I'm in this position. How do I help? How can I help? How can I help?" But it's so much more, because a lot of those things go back to when they were young children. A lot of those experiences, these are opinions that have been waiting to form for years, and now we have a situation where we're like, okay, now they take on this stress, they take on this depression, they take on these suicidal thoughts, they take on these and then they also have the pressures of friends, and peer pressure, and being accepted, and all these things. And around the holidays is the time where it seems to overflow, and all those things start bubbling up. They have outbursts and all these things. So you have to notice the changes in your children and realize that the environment that they're in has a large effect on the things that. Because I even yesterday I had an experience where a child was feeling one way. I fed them and we chilled for a minute, and then the whole mood changed. That was it. Just one meal and just to relax, just for maybe about 30 minutes. Complete turnaround of mood. Just pick me up right. I was like, okay, so the environment often has these effects. So you just gotta kind of be very, very careful about what they see, what they're exposed to, the environment they're in, and pay attention, to small changes that may be happening, because there's happening.
It's happening. And
Hmm.
I want to, and it is happening. And thank you for all of that. And I just want to say to those of us who are here, those who are watching live, those who are watching the replay, as these children are home during the break, I realize all of us who are tapped into children realize that sometimes breaks can be very detrimental to kids, like breaks from school, because they
Yeah.
don't have the care. Since they don't have the big mama to go to big mama's house or to go wherever. Some kids are left home alone. I heard a story recently of a mom who left her kids home, like while she went out of town. I was like, wait, what? I'm talking little kids. I mean, I can't even. I've heard, situations where, parents just like, listen, I gotta go to work. I gotta do what I gotta do, and we don't have anybody. So whether they take you and they leave you in the car while they work, not an accidental crazy kind of thing, but like, look, you big enough, let the window down, here's your device. These devices, like, we got to be real careful because now they are here and they're in this space more, and this is leading to a lot of depression
Mhm.
in our children. Is leading to a lot of anxiety. It's leading to a lot of behavior that we're like, wait, we don't condone this behavior. What are you talking about? But if you're in this game and the whole game is just talking about, you can go in, you can break into somebody's house and you can steal somebody's car and you can do whatever, and I'm like, wait a minute. There are certain games, even with my kids, I wouldn't allow them to download. And then, and sometimes you're just with your family. They're with family and they're with cousins and they're with friends. And it's like, oh, mom, everybody, like, if you're in a room and everybody in the room got the game, and it's usually my kids are the ones that don't have the game. It's
Mine
like,
too.
can we
Yeah.
just download this game? And you download, and I'm like, okay, it's harmless. And then until it's not, and I'm like, wait,
Until it's not.
I don't understand what y'all saying. Like, what just happened here? We can't do.
Mhm.
We have to watch. We have to monitor. We have to let them know, just because you're on a break for school doesn't mean you get to play video games all day, and it doesn't mean you get to be on social media all day. Yeah, we got.
Right.
I'm not talking about these people who their parents are managing their social media pages, and they are they're like blowing up because their parents are putting funny stuff about them on social media. But I'm talking about, we got kids who, are however old they are, and they are like so into their social media and so into, everybody wants a TikTok, everybody wants to be an influencer, everybody wants to do all of this stuff. But what are you watching? And what are you doing with what you're watching? I can watch it with you. Like, we can see. You want to go on TikTok, baby? Okay, let's go. Let's sit and watch videos together. But we need to have a conversation.
So fast.
We gotta have a conversation about this.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I have one in my house that's begging me for an account, and I'm not judging any parents who have those accounts for their children. But I just tell my, you can get on my account. Like, here's my account. You want to post? Post. You want a video? You want to watch? But that's all we're doing right now. That's all we're
Mhm.
doing right now. And so when we talk about our teens and our young adults, particularly our teens in high school, it becomes so depressing, because what's going to happen? People are going to start posting what they got for Christmas.
Right. Right.
And those who can't get, before, you just got to wait until you get back to school to see who got the new
Yeah.
clothes and who got the new Jordans, who got the new whatever. Now you don't have to wait. On Christmas Day, they doing TikToks, baby. They going live on IG. They doing all this stuff. And now you got to sit with the fact that everybody else got something that you did not get. I'm gonna let each one of y'all close us out by speaking to the kids. Miss Adrian, Sky, Sister Alicia, how will you, if you gotta talk to that parent or to that child who's gonna be sitting and stressing about what they don't have, what message do you have for, again, the child or the parent or both? Stay.
Well, for the child, um, I probably would know some things about the child that I'm having this conversation with, like that, and I would just remind them that this is kind of this is what I tell them. I know right now for you things suck. They really do. I'm not going to play like they don't. They do. But I would tell them it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter where you are right now. You're in a position Pay attention, learn as much as you can while you're here right now, because you don't have to be what your past has been. There's some steps you can take so that 10 years from now, what your existence looks like now isn't what your existence is. Depending upon what age they are, you got this many more years to be in this type of environment. Then when you get this age, you get to make decisions for yourself. You get to decide what it is you want to do. So find somebody always that you can connect with that's going to support you and understand you, and just keep moving. Just kind of keep moving. Yeah, I know it's going to get hard. It's going to get, because I'm not going to lie to you. Life is hard now, but just keep moving. Just keep moving. It will get better. It should get better. You have the potential to make things better, but there's some things you have to do first. And like I said, life isn't fair. I don't know why this is your circumstance, but this doesn't have to remain your future. You have some input as to how you're going to learn the lessons that you need to learn, and keep moving forward.
Amen. Thank you. This is this guy's going to share. But Alicia Dixon, is it possible some of the resources that you mentioned? I'm telling people it's not too late to get resources to help this holiday season. Can we post some of those resources on our church's Facebook page?
Yes.
Some of the resources I saw, some of the ones I saw that the parents were elated when you were sharing resources, even
Yeah.
resources about housing, because like you said, you get kids, we know kids who go to public schools, kids who are in college, and kids who are in daycare who they don't have a home, they
Mhm.
are homeless. And so maybe even just those announcements about housing applications, or if they haven't signed up yet, with families helping families, if they haven't missed those deadlines, whatever resource you may have. And I'll try to
I'll
add
check.
some.
I'll check the deadlines. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'll check
Okay.
the deadlines, and whatever deadlines that I have not passed, I will post.
Thank you. Sister
Yes.
Scott?
For the kids, tomorrow isn't yesterday.
Mhm.
Tomorrow isn't yesterday. For the adults, mind your words. Mind your words. I have had to learn that lesson a lot with my 9-year old. I am valid in being frustrated because the coffee fell, and I felt like that was one more thing on my to do list. But let me blow up somewhere else where she doesn't feel like it's on her, and let me come back and let her know this had nothing to do with you. I am doing my part. Mind your words, mind your actions, and step away. It's okay to explode, but explode in a contained environment where that child does not have access to it. So that's all.
I like it. Thank you much.
Um, for me, for the children, I would say, well, for older children, I would say, uh, some of the sentiments that Sister Adrian Scott also said, that it gets better. It does get better. It's hard, but it gets better. Um, and to older children, find your tribe. I tell this to my 10-year-old, all the time. Find your tribe. Find the people that love and care about you. Even when you 10, there are some, focus on those people that are there for you, love and care about you. And sometimes it's your family, and sometimes you may find a friend or two, but just find your tribe. And for younger children, it gets better. And young children are resilient to a certain extent, and they can bounce back pretty good to a certain extent. So to the parents, don't bruise them so deeply that they can't. Um, your words matter. Your feelings are valid. Yes, it's hard, but it can get better. And to seek out ways for it to get better. Seek out things that you can do to make changes in your life and the life that you want to have. So and keep praying.
Don't stop, please. Don't stop praying. Thank you so much, ladies,
Yep.
for joining us. For the students, for the children, and the parents of all ages, giving up is not an option. It's not an option. So don't give up. God is not giving up on you, and we can't give up on God. I want to throw out a book. a reference that I've been reading and rereading, and sometimes even let my kids listen to snippets of it in the car, on in the audio book. But it's called Scream Free Parenting, SCREAM. It's called Scream Free Parenting, by Hal Runkel, and he's a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I do tell my kids. I told them this just today. I said, my one of the traits that one of the things I don't like to do, like I don't like to yell at my kids. Like I don't, I really don't. They probably don't believe that, but I don't. But they know it to be true. Um, because just like Alicia said, they will be what they see. So if I, as their parent, if I have a habit of yelling at them, like I'm always yelling at them, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna yell at each other. Like
Mhm.
that's what they do. And it took me hearing them do that to each other to realize, oh my gosh, I detest this character defect that I have. And so, we work on it together. Have conversations with your children, let them know that you are not perfect, um and how everyone can participate in making things better, and they, when I do, I get more with that when I do that than can get with anything else, because they're like, well, sometimes it seems like we just don't listen until you raise your voice. So I guess we just have to do a little bit better, I get, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want you to take that on. Like, I'm responsible for my actions. And but what I won't do, I don't want to say anything like you said that's gonna cut you, bruise you. You 29 years old and you're like, I remember on this day my mama said this to me and my life was never the same. Like, that is my prayer to God every day. Like, don't ever let me say anything to any child that's gonna cut them in such a way, that again, in their like, it's this age and they're 67 and they're like, I still remember what they said to me, and that just, and so with all of that, we accept that we all go through this life and we will have stressful moments. We will have trials. The Bible tells us that we will have trials. But those trials will help us overcome the world, the things that life throw at us. And those trials come to make us strong. So all I can say is exercise your muscles this holiday season. Like, get ready to get strong. Any trials that you have is coming to make you strong. And know that this too shall pass. I love you all with the love of the Lord. I thank you all for being here. It is my prayer, my sincerest prayer, that you have the best Christmas, the best New Year. It is my prayer that from this day forward, whatever stress that you may be holding on to, whatever expectation that you haven't met, that you just let it go. Don't be so caught up in creating a moment for the season that you miss the moment and best being in the moment in the season. So take time, chill, relax, rejoice. If a tree not up, don't worry about it. It's just not up. Car's not out, they're just not out. You can't figure out that macaroni and cheese, ask somebody who makes the best and order it from them and have it at the table. Do whatever you need to do to keep your sanity. I love y'all. God bless y'all. We'll see y'all back here next year. We
Yay.
out. We out. We out. We'll see y'all back in this space next year. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.